Jennifer was looking at the photo she'd just taken of her daughter Emma laughing on the park swing. It had been only 10 minutes ago. Now Emma lay motionless on the ground. Jennifer's hands were shaking. She'd dropped her phone. She was screaming, but the sound didn't seem like her own voice. The people around her had frozen. Everyone was watching. No one was moving. Then he came. The man with the torn jacket. The weathered face hidden behind an unkempt beard. His hands, God, his hands were so dirty. Jennifer instinctively stepped back. She wanted to scream, "Don't touch her!" But he was already kneeling, checking her daughter's throat, finding a pulse. Professionally. Quickly. Like he'd done this 1,000 times before. "She's not breathing," the man said in a calm voice. "I need you to call 911 and step back. I'm going to save your daughter." Jennifer froze. Who did this homeless man think he was? But Emma was turning blue, and Jennifer had no other choice. Before we continue, if this story is touching your heart, please like this video and subscribe to Compassion of the Abandoned. We share stories that remind us why kindness matters, especially to those the world has forgotten. It had been a perfect Saturday morning. Jennifer had promised Emma a day at the park after a long week of overtime shifts at the restaurant where she waitressed. Money was tight since the divorce, but she could afford ice cream and an afternoon of watching her 7-year-old daughter play. Emma had been on the swings, pumping her legs, her laughter cutting through the spring air like music. Jennifer had pulled out her phone to capture the moment. Click. One perfect photo of pure joy. Then Emma's rhythm changed. She stopped pumping. Her hands loosened on the chains. For a second, she just sat there, swaying gently. Then she slid off the swing and collapsed onto the wood chips below. Jennifer's brain didn't process it immediately. It looked like Emma had simply decided to lie down. But then she saw her daughter's face. The confusion. The panic. The way her small hands clawed at her throat. Jennifer ran. Her bag fell off her shoulder. Her phone hit the ground. She didn't care. She dropped to her knees beside Emma, her hands hovering uselessly over her daughter's body. "Emma? Emma, baby, what's wrong?" Emma's lips were moving, but no sound came out. Her eyes were wide, terrified, searching her mother's face for answers Jennifer didn't have. Then Emma's body went rigid. Her back arched, and she stopped moving altogether. "Someone help!" Jennifer screamed. Her voice cracked. "Please! Someone call 911. People were gathering now. A jogger stopped. A couple with a stroller. An elderly man walking his dog. They formed a loose circle, staring, but no one stepped forward. Someone was on their phone. Someone else was recording. No one knew what to do. Jennifer pressed her ear to Emma's chest. She couldn't hear anything over her own heartbeat thundering in her ears. She tried to remember CPR from a video she'd watched years ago, but her mind was blank. Her hands shook too badly to do anything useful. "Move aside." The voice came from behind her. Rough. Commanding. Jennifer turned and saw him. The homeless man who'd been sleeping on the park bench all morning. She'd noticed him earlier, made a mental note to steer Emma away from that area. He looked like he hadn't bathed in weeks. His clothes were layered and filthy. His beard was long and matted. And now he was walking toward her daughter. "Get away from her," Jennifer said, putting herself between him and Emma. "Don't you dare touch her." "Your daughter is in cardiac arrest," the man interrupted. His eyes were focused, clear, sharp. Not the glazed look she'd expected. She has maybe 2 minutes before brain damage starts. Do you know what to do? Jennifer's mouth opened, but nothing came out. That's what I thought, the man said. Now move. Please. Something in his tone made her step aside. Not kindness exactly. Authority. The kind of voice you obeyed in an emergency. The man knelt beside Emma. His movements were precise, efficient. He tilted Emma's head back, checking her airway. His fingers found her neck, searching for a pulse Jennifer couldn't feel. His other hand pressed against Emma's chest, counting compressions in his head. "How long has she been unconscious?" he asked without looking up. "I don't know," Jennifer stammered. "Maybe a minute? Less. I don't. She's in ventricular fibrillation," the man said, more to himself than to her. "No pulse. No breath sounds." He positioned his hands on Emma's sternum and began compressions. Hard. Faster than Jennifer expected. The force of it made Emma's small body jerk with each push. "You're hurting her." Jennifer lunged forward, but someone grabbed her arm. The jogger. A woman maybe 10 years older than Jennifer. "Let him work," the woman said quietly. The homeless man didn't stop. 30 compressions. Then he tilted Emma's head again, pinched her nose, and gave 2 rescue breaths. Jennifer watched her daughter's chest rise and fall. Then he was back to compressions, counting under his breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. "Who are you?" Jennifer whispered. The man didn't answer. He was focused entirely on Emma. His hands moved with mechanical precision. No hesitation. No uncertainty. This wasn't someone guessing. This was someone who knew exactly what he was doing. After 2 full cycles, he stopped and checked Emma's pulse again. Nothing. He swore under his breath and continued. More compressions. More breaths. The crowd around them had grown. Someone said the ambulance was 6 minutes out. 6 minutes. That felt like forever. "Come on," the man muttered. "Come on, kid. Don't do this." His voice cracked just slightly. Jennifer heard it. That tiny fracture in his composure. Like this mattered to him. Like Emma wasn't just another emergency. After the 3rd cycle, Emma's body convulsed. Once. Twice. Then she gasped. A horrible, choking sound. But it was breath. She was breathing. The man immediately turned her onto her side, supporting her head as she coughed and sputtered. Her eyes fluttered open, unfocused and confused. "Mom," she whispered. Jennifer collapsed beside her, pulling Emma into her arms. "I'm here, baby. I'm here. You're okay. You're okay." Tears were streaming down her face. She was shaking so hard she could barely hold Emma steady. The homeless man sat back on his heels. His hands were trembling now. He wiped them on his jeans, leaving streaks of dirt. He looked exhausted, hollowed out, like saving Emma's life had cost him something Jennifer couldn't see. "Thank you," Jennifer said, looking at him through her tears. "Thank you. I don't know who you are, but thank you." The man nodded once. He started to stand up, but Jennifer grabbed his arm. "Wait, please. What's your name? How did you know what to do?" He looked at her for a long moment. His eyes were gray, she noticed, and sad, impossibly sad. "Doesn't matter," he said finally. "It matters to me." The sound of sirens cut through the park. The ambulance was close. The man pulled his arm free gently and stood. Your daughter needs to go to the hospital. Make sure they check for arrhythmia. Could be congenital. Could be something else." He was already backing away. "Wait." Jennifer called, but he was moving through the crowd. People stepped aside automatically, like they had before, but this time there was something different in their faces. Not disgust. Confusion. Maybe even respect. The paramedics arrived and took over. They asked Jennifer questions she could barely answer. Yes, Emma had collapsed. No, she didn't know why. No, Emma had no history of heart problems. Yes, someone had performed CPR. Who? Jennifer looked around, but the homeless man was gone. At the hospital, doctors ran tests. EKGs, blood work, scans. Emma was stable, but they wanted to keep her overnight for observation. Jennifer sat beside her daughter's bed, holding her small hand, unable to stop the shaking that had settled into her bones. A cardiologist came in around 8 p.m. Dr. Patel. She had Emma's charts in her hand and a confused expression on her face. "Ms. Martinez, I need to ask you something. Who performed CPR on Emma at the park?" "I don't know his name," Jennifer said. He was homeless. Living in the park, I think." Dr. Patel's eyebrows rose. "And you're certain he had no medical training?" "I have no idea." "Why?" The doctor looked at the charts again. "Because whoever did this knew exactly what they were doing. The compression depth, the rate, the airway management, it was textbook perfect. Better than textbook. Your daughter had a sudden cardiac event caused by an undiagnosed arrhythmia. Without immediate intervention, she would have died. But this person didn't just keep her alive until paramedics arrived. They actually restarted her heart. That's extraordinarily difficult to do with just manual CPR. Jennifer felt something cold slide down her spine. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying whoever helped your daughter has done this before. Many times. This wasn't luck. This was skill." That night, Jennifer couldn't sleep. She kept seeing the man's hands. How they moved. How certain they were. She kept hearing his voice. Ventricular fibrillation. That wasn't language a random person would use. That was medical terminology. The next morning, after Emma was discharged with a new diagnosis and a prescription for medication, Jennifer drove back to the park. She wasn't sure what she was looking for. Closure, maybe. Answers. The man was gone from the bench where he'd been sleeping. Someone else was there now, a younger guy with a shopping cart full of belongings. Jennifer approached carefully. "Excuse me. There was a man here yesterday. Older, grey beard, torn brown jacket. Do you know where he went?" The young man looked at her suspiciously. "Why?" "He helped my daughter. I just want to thank him." The suspicion didn't entirely leave his face, but he shrugged. "Chen?" "Yeah. He's usually at the shelter on 5th Street at night. But he doesn't like people bothering him." "Chen?" "That's his name. That's what he goes by." Jennifer found the shelter that evening. It was a low brick building that smelled like industrial cleaner and desperation. She waited outside, feeling intrusive and awkward. People came and went. Finally, as the sun was setting, she saw him. The same torn jacket. The same weathered face. He saw her too. He stopped walking. For a moment, Jennifer thought he might turn around and leave. But he didn't. He just stood there, waiting. Jennifer walked over. "I've been looking for you. You found me. My daughter is okay. Thanks to you. They said she has a heart condition we didn't know about. The doctors said if you hadn't done what you did, she would have died. Chen nodded slowly. He didn't seem surprised. He didn't seem proud either. Just tired. "Who are you?" Jennifer asked. "Really?" Chen looked away. For a long time, he didn't answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was quiet. "I used to be a surgeon. Cardiovascular. 15 years. Jennifer's breath caught. "What happened?" "My wife," he said. His jaw tightened. "She had an aneurysm. Came in on a Saturday. I was the best surgeon in the hospital. Everyone said so. But I couldn't operate on my own wife. Hospital policy. So I watched. I watched another surgeon try to save her. He made a mistake. One small mistake. Cut wrong. She bled out in 7 minutes." Jennifer felt tears burning in her eyes. "I broke his jaw," Chen continued. "Right there in the OR. In front of everyone. Lost my license. Lost my practice. Lost everything that mattered. My daughter stopped talking to me. Said I embarrassed the family. Shamed her mother's memory. So I left. Easier that way. How long ago?" 5 years. "And you've been living on the streets since then?" He shrugged. "I don't deserve anything better." Jennifer shook her head. "You saved my daughter's life. That doesn't change what I did." "Maybe not. But it changes what you are now." She reached into her bag and pulled out a piece of paper. "I wrote down my number. I work at Rosie's Diner on 8th. We're always looking for help. Dishwashing, cleaning, whatever. It's not much, but it's something. If you want it." Chan stared at the paper but didn't take it. "Why?" "Because yesterday, you gave me back the most important thing in my world. And I don't know how to repay that. But maybe I can give you something back too. A chance. A small one. But still a chance." Chen's hand shook as he reached for the paper. He looked at it for a long time. Then he folded it carefully and put it in his pocket. "I don't know if I can." "That's okay," Jennifer said. "The offer stands. Whenever you're ready." She turned to leave, but Chen spoke again. "What's your daughter's name?" "Emma." "Tell Emma," he said, his voice rough with something that might have been emotion. "Tell her she's going to be okay. The medication will work. And tell her to live. Really live. Don't waste it." Jennifer nodded, unable to speak past the lump in her throat. She walked back to her car, got in, and sat there for a long time crying. Not sad tears. Something else. Something complicated. Relief. Gratitude. Grief for a man who'd lost everything. Hope that maybe, somehow, it wasn't too late. 3 weeks later, Chen showed up at the diner. He looked the same. Still wearing the torn jacket. Still wearing that haunted expression. Jennifer was in the middle of the lunch rush when she saw him standing in the doorway. She walked over. "You came." "I came," he said. "But I need you to understand something. I'm not going to be the person I was. I can't be a surgeon again. I can barely be a person some days." "I'm not asking you to be a surgeon," Jennifer said. "I'm asking if you want to wash dishes." Chen almost smiled. "Almost. Yeah. I can do that." He started that day. In the back. Away from customers. He worked quietly, methodically, the same way he'd performed CPR on Emma. Precise. Efficient. Present. The other staff were wary at first, but Jennifer had told them enough of the story that they gave him space. Emma came by after school sometimes. The first time she saw Chen through the kitchen window, she ran to him. He stiffened, uncomfortable, but Emma threw her arms around his waist. "You saved me," she said simply. Chen's hands hovered over her head for a moment. Then, carefully, like he was touching something precious and fragile, he rested them on her shoulders. "You're okay," he whispered. "That's all that matters." As the weeks passed, Chen stayed. Some days were harder than others. Jennifer could tell when the weight of his past was crushing him. He'd work slower, his eyes distant, but he never missed a shift. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifted. The haunted look didn't disappear, but it softened. The tightness in his shoulders eased. He started talking to the cook, started nodding to customers who thanked him when he helped clear tables. One evening, Jennifer found him sitting in the alley behind the diner. It was where he took his breaks. He was holding a phone, an old flip phone he'd bought with his first paycheck. "My daughter called," he said when Jennifer sat down beside him. "First time in 5 years. Someone told her I was working again. She wants to meet. Are you going to?" Chen was quiet for a long time. "I don't know if she can forgive me. Maybe she doesn't need to forgive you. Maybe she just needs to see that you're still here. Still trying." Chen looked at her. "Why do you care so much?" Jennifer thought about that. About Emma lying on the ground. About the moment she thought she'd lost everything. About the man nobody saw who stepped forward anyway. Because the world told you that you were worthless. And you believed it. But you're not. And maybe if I keep showing you that, eventually you'll believe it too. Chen's eyes filled with tears. He didn't wipe them away. He just sat there, letting them fall. "Thank you," he said finally, "for seeing me when no one else did." Jennifer put her hand on his shoulder. "You saved my daughter. The least I could do is save you back." They sat there in the fading light, two people who'd almost lost everything, finding a way back to something that felt like hope. Chen never became a surgeon again. He didn't want to. But he did meet his daughter. And eventually, his granddaughter. He kept washing dishes at the diner, kept showing up, kept living. And every year, on the anniversary of the day he saved Emma, Jennifer brought him a coffee and they sat together in that alley. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. Some things don't require words. Sometimes, all you need to know is that someone saw you when you were invisible, and chose to care anyway. Emma grew up. She went to college, studied medicine. When people asked her why, she told them about the homeless man who saved her life, about how he had nothing but gave everything, about how the world had forgotten him, but he hadn't forgotten how to be human. And Chen, who once believed he'd lost his chance at redemption, learned something he'd thought impossible, that sometimes the people we save us right back. That compassion doesn't end when we fall. It just waits for someone brave enough to see past the surface, to recognize that beneath the dirt and the pain, there's still a person, still worth saving, still worth loving, because at the end of the day, that's what we all are, just people, trying to survive, trying to matter, hoping that when we fall, someone will be there to catch us, or at least to sit with us in the wreckage and remind us that we're not alone. If this story moved you, please take a moment to comment below. Have you ever been helped by someone the world overlooked? Or maybe you've been that person, invisible but still showing up. Share your story, because every act of compassion, no matter how small, deserves to be seen. And if you haven't already, subscribe to Compassion of the Abandoned for more stories that remind us why kindness will always matter, especially to those who need it most.